Hello and welcome back. Things are progressing quite nicely now on Sheaval. Towards the end of the last video, we had the engine bay just about ready for painting. During the course of the past week, I've been busy ordering all the different items, the new bits and pieces that are required to put the engine back in place, to put the prop shaft back in place, to replace the older stern gland with a more modern version, new hoses and exhaust fittings and so on. In any case, I've been asked to kind of explain in a bit more depth what we're doing in there. It seems, given that it's a big box that we seem to crawl in and out of, it's not as clear as I would like for people to understand what it is we're trying to do. So with that in mind, I've done a little diagram here. Please mind, it's not to scale in any way, shape or form, but I hope it will show a bit clearer what we're trying to do. So with a boat, ship, any kind of water going vehicle, if you have an engine inside the boat and your propeller, which is what drives the boat, outside the boat, you need some means by which to connect one to the other. So you have to drill a hole through the hull, make a shaft to go through the hull to join the engine to the propeller. Obviously, if you drill a hole in the bottom of your boat, you're going to have lots of leaking. And before very long, your boat's going to go glug glug and sink. So, in order to kind of explain what it is we're trying to do, I've made up this diagram, which I hope will help to understand what's happening here. So if you take this black line here to be the back end of the boat, the stern or the transom, if you like, the flat end of the boat. Going this way is towards the bow or the pointy end of the boat. That's the top and that's the bottom. So in order for us to connect our engine to our propeller, a hole has been drilled through the boat, the bottom of the boat here, through this section here, which is all solid fiberglass. It's known as the skeg, and a tube's been put in from that end to that end. Okay, and then a shaft goes through the tube and connects to the propeller. Also in that space that we're working in, so if that's the side deck of the boat, this is the cockpit that we sit in to control the boat. And then there's the floor of the cockpit. Immediately below the floor, in the same engine space, we have to mount the fuel tank, which has now arrived, and connect it to a filler hose. So that up to the top of the boat, so we can fill it with diesel, and then obviously it'll feed the engine. The exhaust too has to go into that same space. And there isn't a lot of space in there, it's very tight. So we now have a new muffler, which is also here, and that goes up so to form what we've been talking about already, a swan neck if you like. And then the exhaust comes out at the bottom of the boat here. Okay, I hope that helps people to maybe understand a bit clearer what we've been trying to do over the past few weeks. In terms of the stern tube, once you make a hole in that boat and put a tube into it, you then have to put a seal to stop the water from coming in. So this is the new version of the stern tube that we purchased. It's a Tides Marine Series 1, so that goes into there like so. This end fits onto the stern tube that's in the boat, and this fits like that. This too will be in the shaft here, and it will fit the tube there. So it will be something like that. So that's on the inside of the boat. If you remember, I was initially concerned about these marks on the shaft, this scoring here. Because this sits at a different position from where the previous one sat, I expect it to sit about there. I'm pretty hopeful that I don't need to replace this shaft, at least not yet. So that's the inside. That goes through the deadwood of the boat, and then you have this guy here, which is a GRP cutlass bearing. So GRP on the outside here, and the reason I bought that is because that allows me to sand it down a tad if I need to, make it slightly smaller. If necessary, I can increase the size of it by using appropriate glues and silicones, because I can't get the exact size for Sheaval. So in our case, as you'll see shortly, it's slightly too big. So we should be able to take that down a bit and get it to fit fairly snugly. This goes on the outside of the boat, of the propeller shaft. Like so. So, this is the new cutlass bearing. It's a GRP or fiberglass one that we've bought, simply because we can't get the exact sizes. We can get the size to fit the prop shaft, the inner diameter. The outer diameter against the stern tube is where we tend to have a problem, because this is quite old stuff now and the standards have changed. So we're hoping the one we've bought will fit without any jiggery pokery. On you go, guy. Yeah, bandit. Will it tap in, you think? It's just slight, isn't it?
Yeah, it will go in. I reckon with a blocker we'd have a chat.
Some grease on it, or some kind of lubricant over it, and tap it in, yeah? We maybe take a bit of emery paper to the inside of the yeah, clean that out a bit more, and then
it will go in. It just needs a bit of finessing.
So, oh, I like that word, finessing.
Yeah, it's called a big hammer.
Yes, I would have said brute force and ignorance, but then there you go.
I'm a bit more posh.
You're a bit posher than I am, yeah. Okay, jolly good. Yeah, that will go with a bit of persuasion. Yeah. Okay, wonderful. And if you imagine this table is roughly about the size of the engine compartment we've been working in. So the fuel tank, which is there, and imagine you're looking at this from the side now, the fuel tank goes there above the floor of the boat, and the floor of the boat will be round about here somewhere. That's the new engine muffler or silencer, which will, this end will go to the engine, and this end will go to the outlet. And also, if you imagine that little table, drawing table there, that's roughly about the size of the engine that runs Sheaval. It's only a little 2-cylinder 15 horsepower engine, a little Nani. It's roughly about the size of that block of wood there. So if you imagine a cube about that size, the engine fits at the end here. The gearbox goes in here. This is connected to the gearbox, and then the engine sits about there. So hopefully I've made it a bit clearer as to what Guy and I have been doing in that poky little hole as we've been scrambling backward and forward and in and out of it. So we're now ready to fit all this, but before we can do that, we've got a fair amount of other preparatory work to get done.
Are you ready?
Yes.
It's all or nothing.
All or nothing, go for it. Hang on 1 second before you continue.
Basically what we've done, we've now drilled a hole in the stern end of the tank for, this will be on the inside, this is going to be for the fuel filler, that will be on the inside like that. The seal there, with another seal goes on the outside, which will be out here, and then this part will screw up onto the outside, and then that's where the fuel inlet hose will go. So I'm going to go do that in a minute, hopefully. The other thing we've done is drilled a hole inside here. This is for the diesel heater that we've got for it. What we have is this little fitting that will go through the hole that way from the inside. With the two O-ring seals, one on the inside, one on the outside. That'll tighten up, and then just that bit will be sticking out that hard. So to get to that, we've had to unscrew take all the screws out of there, remove the whole cap. That's obviously a fuel pickup. Right, so all going well, I should be able to get my hand in here. We have hoovered out the inside. All going well. Oh. That should push through like that.
You got the seal on it, did you?
Yep, the seal's on that one.
We're going to water test this.
Yes.
And if it leaks, we'll take it all apart and then bed the seals onto some sealant as well. But hopefully we won't need to.
Right, so we can put some Silsons on that or something if we want to, but I think that's quite tight.
It should seal on those rubber.
It should do, yeah. I don't see that. That is.
It's very tight.
Obviously, I've got to leave my arm behind now because I can't get it back out.
Oh well, we'll just leave it there. Okay.
Now,
right, you can do the next one now. You might need to get tools in for that. Yeah, we don't need a big hole for the return.
no, there shouldn't be a lot of return hole, and that'll be more than enough.